in the news. I had it.
I'm just messing with you.
Just letting people know, just
Oh, pardon me, guys. Burp stream. Burpcast.
hashtag burp stream. All right, so moving on to our next topic at hand. Give me a second here. It's been a while since I've done something like this on the podcast. Okay, let's see. Yes. Okay, so this is reported off. Oh, hang on, let me start the 10-minute marker. This is reported off of Eurogamer.net, written by Richard Ledbetter. Switch hacked. An unexpected exploit is a security nightmare for Nintendo. Linux already running custom firmware in development. Nintendo Switch has been hacked with two similar exploits released in the last 24 hours following a complete dump of the console's boot ROM. The hacks are hardware-based in nature and cannot be patched by Nintendo. The only way forward for the platform holder in fully secure. Hello, burp there. In fully securing the console will be to revise the NVIDIA Tegra X1 processor itself, patching out the boot ROM bug. In the short term, homebrew code execution is possible in full touch-enabled version of Linux with 3D acceleration support is now available. The exploits have been delivered by veteran console hackers Fail Overflow with the Shuffle 2 release and Fuzzy Glee hack from Kate Tumick, which is fully documented here. According to the hackers, the nature of the exploit will fully disclose to Google, Nintendo, and NVIDIA some time ago. Fail Overflow was set to release its exploit on 25th of April, but brought it out forward once the boot ROM dump leaked. And I'll put this full link in the chat for those who wants to read it. Okay. So they found a way to not only hack the Switch, but in a way that Nintendo can't patch it out. And the only way to fix this is to basically make a new hardware console per se, or an updated version.
Which honestly might happen.
So, yeah, it actually might happen because like Nintendo has a history of doing this. So when I was reading this and when I first learned about it, the first thing that came to mind is the Switch going to become slowly like the PSP? Because when the PSP came out, it sold a lot of handhelds, but at the time. But the problem is that. But it was.
To answer your question, no. I have a very good reason why the Switch will not become.
Oh, okay.
That. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people will start hacking it. A lot of people, but fortunately for Nintendo's audience, it's different than what the PSP had. Quite different, if you ask me. There are more people. There are more people willing to support Nintendo than to do the hacking. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say whether I think that the hacking is good or bad or whatever, but you have to know that if you're hacking and downloading games versus buying the games, you're not supporting the company fully. And for me, I would rather do something with my $300 console that I don't have the money to replace that's safe than that's not safe. Right. Like a friend was like, "Oh, you could buy this dock that's really cool, and it's made by Mad Catz." And I was like, "You didn't hear about the Mad Catz docks that were bricking systems?" Yeah. He was like, "No," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not buying third-party hardware, so I'm not buying a hack. Like, it's just not going to happen. But if that's something you want to do, if you feel like that's the route you want to take, go for it. More power to you. It's." I'm still in the mindset that even though you buy a game, it's not yours.
So, kind of respond to the statement here that Jason is in the chat. For those who are listening to the podcast, you should join us, by the way, on our Twitch channel. He says the hack should also boost sales of what is on the shelf right now, which could be a thing. Like the Switch is already selling really well as of right now, and this could potentially boost up its console sales specifically just to hack it and like get games for free and whatnot. And Nintendo can't do a damn thing.
Nintendo, you have to understand that video game companies, we've talked about this in the past, they don't make money off of the systems. they're spending more money to make a system than they are to sell it. All the video game companies are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They make their money off of peripherals and third-party items. That's where they make their money. Sure, they can try to make some money back, but most sales do not. Like for Nintendo, that $300 for the Switch itself, they're probably losing money on that, if not cutting it even.
Yeah.
And they're making money on making the JoyCons $70 because those JoyCons are not that much. I think it's like 30% increase in sale on JoyCons.
Yeah, it is.
So,
well, and I'll agree with your statement. Actually, I was thinking about this. I was reading the story. Like, could this be potentially like the next generation of like a PSP in terms of like how that turned out and why people would buy it for? But then I thought about it. It's like Nintendo has garnered such goodwill within people's mindset within the game industry that like I don't think people will go out there and hack it. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's more people inclined to get the console and support the games on Nintendo rather than try to hack it.
Yeah. Well, like when you say the PSP, it reminds me of the fact that the PSP kind of died because of the hacking. That it went under because people like weren't buying games for it. It was the same reason that Nintendo, well, similar reason, not same reason. That Nintendo's Wii, like it started off super strong and then died really quickly because people weren't buying games for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in this situation, one of the things that I wouldn't say game companies, but like I would say platformers, in terms of like Steam, in terms of like Xbox, Microsoft, Sony, what, at least in my theory, like what they are doing to kind of combat piracy to some degree is that when you're dealing with piracy, when you're trying to pirate a game, you have to jump through these loops, get the right crack, download from the right website that doesn't give you a virus, and install it to where it works. When it comes to these platforms, they made it much more easier to download or buy a game, rather than going through the loops. And that's their way of like combating, like, hey, you can get the game for free. Sure, you can do all the loops, but you could just pay $20 for Cuphead, and you can download it. Just a one-click a button and installs, and you're good to go. So
yeah. I mean, it's for me again. Like you'll never see me hack a console. Like even if it's a situation like with the DS, where basically all you have to do for the DS is buy the cart. I think you might have to actually homebrew the system, but
I would assume so.
Like, yeah, but with that stuff, it's not as like. This seems more dangerous, is my point. This seems like it could potentially brick the system because they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but even if they get it right,
I wonder.
Right, Jason. That's what I was figuring. It was a clean file. But my point is that, like you said, the goodwill that Nintendo has caused with its fans, with as many people that bought the system who are not going to hack, I don't think this is a big problem. I mean, Nintendo's going to see it as a problem because Nintendo's a company that wants to make money. But
right.
From a consumer's perspective, I still feel like Mario Tennis Aces is going to sell a huge amount. That whatever next big title they have coming out is going to sell big. That E3 is still going to be a huge showing for them. So
yeah,
I'm not worried. And I don't think they should be either, but whatever.
I think the one thing to take away, because I just read the article here about it. Apparently, like they were notified. Like they informed. Let's see, who was it? Like of April 25th. No. Hang on. According to Nature. Yeah, they informed Google, Nintendo, and Nvidia about this. About this hack. And they were set to release on April 25th. So I'm kind of curious as far as like if they were told about it. Like, I would kind of wonder what they were thinking about it was it like basically, oh well, we can't do nothing about this, so I guess we'll just like we'll know of it, but we had to like figure out a way to prevent it in the future, or is it like they knew about it and they ignored it because I don't know. That when I read that in the article, I'm kind of wondering like what the mindset of Nintendo was when it came to knowing if that is true, if knowing that they've had the information about this hack prior to this, and it even said in an article like this wasn't like they weren't going to announce it for a while until that leak happened with the dump.
Well, you got to put in perspective of like other companies and how they've had to deal with console releases. Like they have to compete. They have to compete with consumers who are at a point where they might not want certain things at certain times. Like let me explain it in this example. Deadpool 2 is not going to release the same weekend as Infinity War. That's not happening.
No.
So these consoles have to figure out how to get their stuff out there, get it in people's hands without people feeling fatigue. And that was another thing that I saw too, Josh or Jason. Jason says, by the way, in chat for listeners, it's not really a big hack. It just enables debug mode.
Okay.
Which that's also another thing. But still, we're discussing it as if it were a big hack, Jason, just in case like that wasn't clear.
Right.
Because the question that Anthony here is asking is like, will it be as bad for the Switch as hacking was for the PSP? And I'm going, absolutely not. But the point I'm getting at about console releases and how they have to compete is sometimes they have to release their console way earlier than they should. And this was the biggest problem with the 360. Like, it took years for them to make a console 360 that didn't crash, that didn't break super easily.
That's true. Yeah, it did. Oof. Can't tell you how many 360s I went through to get one that works.
Well, there's two problems that came from that. Is that they were like, well, we either need to increase our R&D area so that way there's more people working on it for a shorter period of time, or extend the period of time. And Xbox was like, both. But credit to Sony, they did the same thing, and Nintendo arguably did the same thing between the Wii U and the Switch. And that's why I think when you look at all three systems and their sales, like we're in a weird age right now where all three systems are extremely viable.
Yes.
So I don't think the Switch is going anywhere. I don't think any number of hacks or big hack or whatever, unless it shuts down Nintendo's like entire server situation, I don't think it'll matter. And I think people are still going to buy the Switch regardless.
Okay.
And play it.
All right.
Legally.
Okay. So, moving on to our next topic at hand.